What's up, world? This is your guy, Guitar K, and today we're going to be talking about how I'm talking about you, me, him, her, everybody. We were put on this world to serve each other, man, to be of service. And I ain't talking about that you always got to be giving out money. You could be giving out your time. You could be giving out your knowledge. We are all put here to teach one another, to reach one another, to protect one another, to help each other out, show each other the way, to just set a good example, man. Look, even Nino Brown was giving out turkeys on Thanksgiving. I mean, even Avon Barksdale on The Wire. He gave Cuddy that money to open up a gym for the kids. Look, man, you got to learn to be of service. Get out of yourself. Not always just doing something like, well, what's in it for me? Well, it don't have nothing to do with me. Look, love your neighbor as you would love yourself, man. Each one teach one. I mean, whatever happened to statements like that? You remember statements like that? Each one teach one. You know, I am my brother's keeper. Do unto others as you would have them do to you. You know, service with a smile. Make love, not war, man. Let us encourage one another and lift one another up. At the end of the day, being of service will make you feel better. Everybody walking around talking about all this anxiety and depression and all this stuff going on. When you be of service, I'm telling you, it helps a great deal with those issues because you're getting outside of yourself. Look, we're going to go to a Bible scripture, man. This is when Paul was writing to the churches of telling people how they should conduct themselves, of how they should act. And you don't even got to be no big religious guru or none of that just to know how to conduct yourself today, man. For some, they just look at God as good, orderly directions. For some, they just look at the Bible as basic instructions before leaving the earth, man. You could look at it like that. But look, Galatians 6:3. For if anyone thinks he is something when he is nothing, he deceives themselves. He deceives himself, man. Look, a lot of people think they're too important to help out. You think that you're so busy with what you're doing that you can't take some time out of your so busy schedule to be of service, man. You're deceiving yourself. It's not true. Anything that you want to do, you're going to make time for it. So if you want to be of service, you're going to make time for it. That's just how it goes. We all know that to be true. And like I said, being of service, they say that it's better to give than receive. And I don't know why people do not believe that. When you're giving, it gives you so much more. It adds on to you. It teaches you how to be patient. It teaches you how to love. It teaches you how to be kind. These are invaluable skills. These are skills that you can't learn nowhere else except for in the field. And when I say in the field, I'm talking about when you're out there being of service, man. Don't be out there looking through your nose at people, looking down on people, thinking that you're better than. I think that's exactly what that scripture is talking about. You're thinking that you're better than somebody when you're not. You're not no better, man. What makes you look better is not what you think it is. You think putting on some nice clothes or driving around in a nice car. No, that doesn't make you look better, man. Being of service. Look, in the NFL, they got the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. And they call that the most prestigious award to win. And it don't got nothing to do with playing no football. It don't matter how many tackles you got, how many yards you got, how many touchdowns you got. None of that. The Walter Payton Man of the Year award is about which player was best serving his community. Finding time out of his busy schedule. Yeah, you know NFL players is busy. They got to practice. They got to work out. They got to do this and do that. But the one who wins that award, and there's a lot of them that be in the running, even the ones that's in the running for it is great. They give back to their community, man. They be out there helping out with the kids, helping out with the homeless, helping out with the sick people. Being of service, helping those that's less fortunate than you. Teaching somebody something that you know that they might not know. Like I said, it ain't even all about giving money all the time, man. It's whatever your gift and talent is, just sharing it with everybody else and not expecting a penny from it, not expecting no pats on the back from it. You just want to see others be better, feel better, and do better. Being of service. And when you're doing that, it's going to make you feel better. Like I said, it gives you a feeling that you can't get nowhere else except for in the field of being in service, man. Look, we all have a hole in our soul. and in our spirit that can only be filled with being of service, truly caring about others and helping others. It gives us a feeling of accomplishment that you can't get nowhere else, man. Look, an inner peace that can only be obtained by helping others. Look, if you're so self-centered that you will only help somebody else if there's something in it for you, man, you're cheating yourself, because you can only reach a certain level of happiness and success being selfish. You caging yourself in. Look, man, life would not seem so bad if you wasn't only thinking about yourself sometimes. There's always somebody out there in the worse position than you. There's always somebody that needs help. There's always somebody that you can uplift. And when you uplift somebody, I'm telling you, it's going to uplift you that much more. Look, man, when you're being of service, it seems like you're doing it for them, but I'm telling you, when you learn to love what you're doing, when you love to learn being of service, it's going to help you tenfold, man. I'm telling you. It's better to give than receive, man. Look. If you're not sharing your love and your blessings and your gifts and talents and knowledge outwardly, all they're going to do is cave in on you. And you're going to be in a miserable existence of chasing false feel goods. You're going to be chasing instant gratifications. Look. If you don't intentionally seek to be good and be honest and be helpful, look, you ain't going to be those things. You got to be intentional about it. Those type of skills just don't fall in your lap. You got to be actively out there practicing them and sharpening them. You got to be sparring out here to be kindness. You got to be sparring and wrestling with things that forces kindness out of you, forces patience out of you, forces love out of you, man. Love your neighbors as you love yourself. I don't need to keep reminding you, man. Where's all the healers at? Where's all the helpers at? The uplifters. Look, man, look. If you don't exercise these skills, you're going to become cold and angry and bitter. You're going to be full of anxiety and depression and looking at the world like it's such a horrible place. Look, whatever it is, however you want to look at it, you got to be here. So why not do your part to make it the best place that it could be, man? Be helpful. Be a teacher. Serve, man. Look, it fills you up like nothing else can. Look, you waste all this time on money and sex and, dead-end relationships and dead-end friendships. Just buy more clothes and buy more shoes than you need. Look, you truly will never get a chance to work on yourself. You will never grow doing those things. That's just fixing up the outside. Being of service hits you in your heart, hits you on the inside, makes you grow from the inside out. You're going to really glow when you're being of service. Being of service makes you want to do better. It makes you want to live better. It makes you want to set a better example. It takes you places. Your gifts and talents will open up doors for you. You'll become more kind. You'll become more patient, more caring, more hardworking. You will learn more so that you can do more. You can take better care of yourself so that you can do more. Look, you will be more loving, more understanding, more cultured, more well-rounded. I'm talking about giving. And you notice how I keep using the word more. Because the more that you give, the more that you receive. I don't know why people don't believe that. Everybody want to be hoarding everything. Let me get this. Let me get that. Everything coming in. Nothing going out. Look, man, you got to put deposits in the bank today. And I ain't talking about no bank like Bank of America or no Wells Fargo. I'm talking about the spiritual bank of the universe. When you put deposits into it, when it's time for you to go draw something out of it, it's going to be there for you, man. You get what you do. You get what you put out, man. How you living today, man? Are you living by spiritual principles? Are you putting love out? If not, I don't see how you're going to be expecting any love to come back your way, man. If you're not being of service, I don't see how you would even expect anybody to serve you. Used to be such good customer service back in the day. People used to be more polite. Look, you could just be polite. You could just walk around, like I said, service with a smile, man. We are all put here to serve. Be of service today, man. The only way you're going to ever reach your true potential is to put it out there into the world, man, and help uplift others. This is your guy, Guitar K. Be more